Okay, so it seems that we are already live. Hi, everybody. Let me say some words because our today's live is gonna be in English, as our guest is from Italy, and he also works in Ireland. So his main like business language is English. So hi, Matteo. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Pavel. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, so let me say a few words in Polish to our Polish audience, and then I'll switch to English again. Więc dzień dobry, cześć i czołem. Słuchajcie, dzisiaj live, czwarty już chyba nasz live dotyczący sprzedaży globalnej i dotyczący też lead generation, pozyskiwaniu leadów. No ale jako, że mówimy o sprzedaży globalnej, to bez języków obcych się nie obejdzie. Zatem dzisiaj porozmawiamy po angielsku. Naszym gościem jest Matteo Lombardi, Włoch, który pracuje we Włoszech, ale też w Irlandii. Za chwilę poproszę Matteo, żeby też jeszcze powiedział kilka słów o sobie. Zatem wracam do angielskiego. Okay, Matteo, again, salve. Hello. I described you before in Polish, so let me say a few words in English. So Matteo Lombardi, he's a founder. One of the things that he does professionally is he's a founder and digital strategist of Stratega. So Matteo, but maybe you could just please tell us, introduce yourself and tell us a few words about your profession.
Absolutely. Thanks for pronouncing the name of the company right. It's like 1 in a million. So, hi everyone. First of all, I'm Matteo, and in 2019, I founded Stratega, which is the first growth hacking agency in Ireland. And we operate in few markets, and I'll tell you what we do right now in a second. Before, I would like to tell you what I do inside of it, because I consider myself a digital strategist that operates with a growth marketing mindset. I believe I'm yet far from Sean Ellis and from all the other growth hackers out there. So I'm a digital strategist. As I was saying, I operate with the growth mindset, which means that we try to experiment with our clients as much as we can and to go fast. So to change every 2 to 4 weeks. A parameter or a whole marketing initiative to get the most out of it, or as we will see later on, to learn the most from our failures. Because the most important thing for me and in marketing is obviously to fail, but to fail in a smart way, so then we can double down your budget on what actually works. But I already went too far. So let's go back. I'm a digital strategist. I have a T-shaped skill set, which means that basically I know a little bit of everything, and I have 2 verticals. The first one is Facebook, a Meta suite ads. No, it's not Facebook anymore. And the second one is lead generation through sales automation, which ranges from LinkedIn outreach to cold email to cross-channel. And Stratega actually, as I was saying, is the first growth hacking agency in Ireland, which means, as I was saying before, that we help our clients with an holistic view of marketing. We try to consider marketing, digital marketing, especially omni-channel. So it means that you need to consider every potential touch point with your customers and how they can react effectively with that thing. As it happened to you, you clicked on an ad, but then you converted from your an ad from your mobile, but then you converted on your laptop. So we try to analyze all these kind of things and get the most out of it through these rapid experimentation cycles that I was talking about. And obviously, thinking of an omni-channel approach, we built a team that covers end-to-end the digital marketing basics. So email marketing, ads, SEO, UX, UI, and development, because obviously we need to have an understanding of what's going on from the developer point of view, from the marketer point of view, and so on, so on, so on. So basically, we do performance marketing. It could have been said in just one sentence.
Perfect. Performance marketing sounds great. One more thing to our audience. Of course, everybody, please feel free to ask questions, ask Matteo questions by comments on YouTube. That's the best way, because we'll talk for about 45 minutes, and the last 15 minutes is for like designed for Q&A. So feel free to ask any questions. Okay, Matteo, thanks again for this introduction. Okay, one more, let's say, warm-up question. Please tell us, how do you learn? Where do you get your inspiration from? Do you read books, or you prefer like blogs, vlogs, or podcasts? Do you have any favorite? Could you recommend something?
Yeah, absolutely. So I learn mostly through books and through communities. I believe communities are a really, really big part of comprehension of what's going on. And if you really need someone that is really dedicated to that and does know that stuff, I believe we met through a community. So they are extremely important for learning, specifically on verticals. And so look for them on LinkedIn, look for them on Facebook, and try to look for the one that you really, really, really need. Other than that, books, I love books. Like one of my favorite books is Sprint by Jake Knapp. And that is the one that I would really recommend to every business entrepreneur or to every startupper, because that gives you it gives you a framework of how to solve a problem for your business in 5 days, which is the most important thing, because we have talked to many startups over the past couple of years, and all of them, they know the lean startup, but none of them actually apply that. And I believe because they don't effectively provide you with the framework. They provide you with some kind of thought, they provide you with a philosophy, but there is no framework. So that one, it would be the best for me to recommend you, generally speaking, for entrepreneurship. Then if you want to learn something about growth hacking, I cannot do anything else except for recommending the Holy Grail, the Bible, Hacking Growth by Sean Ellis and Morgan Brown. And obviously, if you're interested in the topic, you can follow them on LinkedIn and follow their newsletters, because they obviously publish quite a lot. You can eventually connect with them, and so you'll be able eventually to have even a conversation with that. I remember I had one with Alberto Savoia, who's the father of prototyping, which is another thing related to the lean startup. So I can recommend him as well. His book is called The Write It. So it explains how you can build a prototype of the product that is going to go to the market, which could be for you a product, could be a feature, could be a whole new way of doing the checkout, but it helps you prototype it. So make it as skinny as possible, go to market, validate it, and then build it. So it goes a step farther rather than the MVP that is brought from Eric Ries. So, but I'm going really a lot into literacy now. I'll stop.
Yeah, that's great. You seem to me like a reader, like a great reader. So yeah, that's really important. So we will ask Matteo to provide us with the names of the book titles and names of the authors, and we'll publish it in the description of this episode later on. The last one you mentioned is quite similar to Pat Flynn's Will It Fly? I don't know if you're familiar with this one, but he's also like it's also like a guide for a startup. Like you can do many things before starting your business to validate if it will fly or not. So I don't. Are you familiar with this one?
I am not. So you gave me just a new book to read. So thank you.
Yeah. So I'll share it with you later on. Great. Okay. Thanks a lot, Matteo. So you are from Italy, but your business is based in Ireland, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and can you tell us a bit more about this model? Is it like do you have like do you work in your like Irish office, or you divide it between Ireland and Italy? Do you meet only online or maybe offline as well? How does your work look like?
So basically, I'm actually in Italy at the moment, and I got here yesterday evening. So as you can imagine, I'm a little bit in between. I have an office in Ireland, but all the guys actually left Ireland. So my team left Ireland. My co-founder Massimo is in Milan. Nicola is in Veneto now. So they're all a bit all over the place, but this is because for me the most important thing is to being flexible. We don't have 200 years in this our own life, so you should be able to enjoy and you should be able to do whatever you want. So I decided to pick the most flexible possible way of working with my colleagues, which I have to tell you, it's tough at the beginning because obviously when you hire someone new, you don't know how that person is going to work, and he doesn't know or she doesn't know your workflow or how you like to get the stuff done. So it's a little bit difficult at the beginning. It requires a little longer onboarding. But at the end of the day, I'm happy out because if I know that Nicola, our designer, is going to play drums in the afternoon because he needs to record a piece, I'm delighted for him because I like music, and then he can do the design stuff later in the evening or at night or whenever he wants. So I like being flexible, and I like people having this kind of flexibility.
Wow. Okay. So sounds very interesting. So you're mostly like Italian guys, or is there many? Is there any like Irish? Irish? Anybody Irish in your team?
It's actually mostly Italians. We had a couple of Irish guys in the past, and actually three people from the team. They were living in Ireland, and then during COVID they left. I mean, Ireland, it has been pretty tough during COVID these 3 years, to be honest with you, because everything was really locked up. Like we had the longest lockdown in Europe, and they decided to move away. I stayed. Maybe I'm wondering why. Like you might tell me why later on. No, but jokes apart, it's mostly Italian, and we are focusing now mostly on the Italian market, because we have quite a huge awareness. I wouldn't say good awareness over there within the startup ecosystem, because Stratega is focused mostly on startups. So we actually work people who have no budget most of the times, and we work with innovative SMEs. So I have a few stories later on. We might bring them up, but we like to work with these two kind of potential clients. Obviously, we have a workflow. We have a few things going on, but we decided to focus our effort on Italy mainly, because it's just a matter of numbers. It's a bigger pool. So it's 60 million people versus 5 million people, and the number of startups, obviously, it's way higher in Italy. So that doesn't mean that we haven't ever worked with the Irish market, or that we never will again. But obviously, if you need to put some effort, especially our business is 3.5 years old, so it's not that long that we've been in business for. So obviously you need to make strategic decisions, because it's going to cost you money. A go-to-market strategy is going to cost you money. If it's not marketing budget, anyway, it's effort and time to write in 2 languages and to prepare double the stuff for the Italian market, for the English market. So you need to be focused, especially at the beginning.
Right. Okay. So, so it's quite opposite that I thought. I thought that you focus on Ireland because it used to be like, or it still is like literally, but used to be like the green island, right? Of like full of many businesses, many U.S. companies set their headquarters for Europe in Ireland, but they're not startups, obviously. Okay, so you're focusing on startups, and so what is your ratio of clients for now? Let's it's Ireland and on one side and Italy on the other. So like with the percentage, how does it look?
Oh,
I
like
mean,
it's like 80% Italy at the minute, and we have an international one at the moment. It's from Armenia. This one
oh,
really super interesting startup. We love working with them. We had about prototyping. We built their new platform. So our designer built a new platform, and we actually prototyped that through one tool. So if you're interested in tools, and if you're interested in prototyping, with InVision. So basically, the story is you have a UX UI designer or both. They design the platform, and then they load the screenshots onto this app that is called InVision, and you can effectively link each button or each part of the screen to another screen. So effectively, you have some sort of website which has a tiny fraction of lag, but you can use it. Like you can go and test it out with no issue. And we do that because usually when you build platforms and you need obviously to pull a lot of data from the back end to the front end, that's going to cost you huge amount of money in development. And so they decided to do this kind of prototype with us, so we could, with this linkable prototype, to validate that the design was effectively good. And once you're able to do that, you go on to development and you save a lot of money. So marketing is not only about spending money, but it's saving money and effectively spending them the right way.
wow, that sounds really interesting. Like Armenia, who would have thought? And how did you acquire this client? Did you like, because I guess you're not marketing, you don't do marketing in Armenia. Is it one of the you mentioned before, the groups and the communities? So can you tell us a bit more? How did it happen that you work with the Armenian startup?
Yes, it was a referral from our lovely Jack that is watching us as well. So hi Jack, he has a startup that we're working with, and he liked just working with us. So they were looking for an agency that was working with a UX UI and this kind of stuff, and they got on board. Basically, that doesn't have a really interesting lead generation story, to be honest with you. But I got Jack through a cold outreach campaign. I have to tell you that, and I know that is a thing that you do, and obviously I know we have a kind of similar workflow. But I would like to spend a few words on that, if you agree, Paolo. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Go on, of course.
Okay, I don't know how your audience is composed, but I could recommend everyone cold automation, which could be done on LinkedIn. It could be done by email, or it could be a cross-channel one, so LinkedIn or other touch points and email. So we do that regularly. I know that you do. It's really good because it saves money. It requires no budget for you whatsoever. So you obviously pay the agency that is doing the work for you, but then you have nothing to spend on LinkedIn, nothing to spend on Google, nothing to spend on Facebook, and so on, so on, so on. Which is the thing that we effectively do to generate our clients. We haven't spent a single time in advertisement since, I don't know, probably a year ago. I don't even remember. That is a really good thing, but please, please, please be careful when you do that. And that is why there are agency like us. There is why there is Lead Hub from Pavel, because we effectively have workflow and we tested a few things out. So the main issue that you could encounter if you do that yourself is that you're going to get your account blocked, or you might decide to do cold email outreach to MailChimp. You cannot do these things. This is because MailChimp was a tool that was built for newsletter. It wasn't built for cold outreach. So there are quite a few technical requirements, which when you learn about them, it's pretty easy and pretty straightforward. Like it's not the hardest part of the job, but you need to know them. And to know them, obviously, you need to study. So that's my biggest tip here. Like, if you really believe that there is an agency that could help you with that, go on with them, because they obviously know what to do, and they know how to save your accounts and how to increase performances, which is the best thing. Despite that, if you'll ever decide it, for me, there are two things that are the absolutely most important piece of the framework. I won't describe all of it, otherwise we could stay here for a couple of hours, but we always start with designing the persona. So you probably heard this 100 times, but heard and done are two different things, and it can be done in 100 different ways. So I'll give you an example. I'll be straightforward, because I believe there are many entrepreneurs here looking at this. So if you come to me and you tell me my person is 35 to 45 and hangs out on Facebook. Okay, who's not? So you need obviously to figure it out how open-minded that persona is, what is seeking in his life, what kind of solution, what the struggle is. And that must be related not only to your product, but to that specific person as well. Because that person, if it's an HR gets so many messages from candidates all over the place, and guess what? They all want their job. But what if your product, which in this case is yourself, is selling effectively the solution that they need? That's when you get hired. But it goes through a process where you adapt and you learn, and you decided to talk to them in a certain way because you want that job. So lead generation is the same way, and designing a persona is the same way. So not only please do the demographics and all the kind of side of things, but for me, the most important thing is the jobs to be done. I don't know if you probably use them, but I would recommend every entrepreneur, not even if you do that with an agency, but for your business, please use the jobs to be done, because it's a framework that is really helpful for you. Because I'll tell you what it is in a couple of words. So it's a theory of consumer action, and basically describes the mechanisms that causes that person to adopt that innovation or not. So what does it mean? Okay, what is my trigger to do something? Okay, what is the outcome if I buy the product? Will my life be easier? So that goes and work around with the value proposition of your business and with your marketing communication. So once you've understood this, you've actually known now what the person wants, what is the best channel to attack them, and how you should do it, how you should put yourself with this person. There are a few people that would like a slang, like I talk to startuppers. So for me, they're really open-minded. I can text them anything I want. One of my most successful campaigns was, do you know that when you're flying, you lose 30%, your taste buds lose 30% of the taste. So it is actually not fault of the airplane food for being that bad. And they loved it because they're really open-minded. They are on LinkedIn and they don't mind an unconventional request. And then you can go talk to them about whatever you want, but being open and trying to solving their issue or trying to understand what's the pain point that they're having at the minute, so you can effectively convert them. But if you go there and you tell them, listen, would you like to buy my sales generation services? Who are you? What do you want? Okay. So this was the first thing that for me is really important. The second one, and I swear it won't take that long, it's how you build your database. Now, there are a few different ways of doing it. The first one is the Sales Navigator and all the filters that you might use with Sales Navigator, but that might not be it. But again, let's stay there for a second. If you want to do this kind of campaigns, please, and Paul will tell you better than I do, 100%, I'm sure about that, go laser targeted. You most likely don't need 10,000 leads or 20,000 leads or 30,000 leads. Because then if you convert them all, what's going to happen? Is your business scalable enough to get them all? Probably not. So go laser targeted, go small batches, because with small batches, you can test them out. And if you test them out, you'll be able to figure out what works and what not. And you won't spend like 2 months trying to get something out of an audience that is not paying off. So database is the other most important thing. And that comes through a lot of experience, a lot of playing with Sales Navigator, and a lot of playing with the scraping tools that are available on the market. An important thing that matches, and is another example on my own expertise of what we did for ourselves and what we do for our clients, is to match the scraping technique with the buyer persona. So we were struggling at the beginning to find like the CEOs for our specific target, so which is usually pre-seed, seed, Series A. Let's say seed round. It was tough to find them because if you type in CEO, it doesn't come up on Sales Navigator. Or I mean, you can get CEOs from literally everywhere, anything, whatever, because there are many people that throw CEO like for no reason whatsoever. We tried to think, what are the touch points for the startuppers with the communities on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram, Quora, and Slack, and so on. The main touch points are venture capitalists, so you can get them onto their pages, communities, and verticals on digital marketing or other stuff, or we have a thing that is what's called when you get money from the state for nothing in return. I don't remember how that's called, to be honest with you. Grants, sorry. So these are the touch points. So we figured out that if we were able to scrape the posts of these communities, of these pages, and grab the CEOs, we would have found our own target audience. And that's what happened. And that's why we haven't spent a single euro on advertisement on that, because we can just reach them on and off. But that came through a lot of testing and really understanding where they were hanging out, what they were doing, how they were interacting with that. Because it's really different, the behavior of every people. So if you really segment the buyer persona the right way, not only lead generation campaign, but every campaign will be most likely successful. Or if not, you would have learned something. And you know that you built everything so specific that you know that thing didn't work. And so you try changing other parameters to figure out effectively how to optimize everything. And that happened last week with the client, but I don't want to take the whole time talking about this, sorry.
No, that's a great story. Really, it's like so. A few things I wanted to say again. You mentioned the jobs to be done. Do you mean the framework for customer needs?
Yes.
So okay,
Yes.
so that's also that might be very useful for our audience if you want to make a persona. This is the, like you say that it's a must have, right? Must be. You must have it done to find the right persona.
Not only for that, but it makes extremely easy to get ready for copywriting, because you know what triggers that person that would like to have that outcome, that is struggling onto something. And that's that. If you understand what's the pain, so for us, the pain is that let's say we want to sell sales outreach to startuppers. The pain is that they have no marketing budget. The trigger is that they need customers, and the outcome, if they get a few customers, is they get an investment. So this is my path towards the conversion. So that's your issue. I got a solution that is actually a trigger, but to get to the trigger, they might not know what is sales automation. So I need to educate them. That could be, but the outcome, if they buy one of my products, is that they will get customers and so on. So that's the framework. But you need to go bit by bit to understand what they really need, and effectively how you can decide to push them towards one thing, or to pull them towards your solution, or if they have anxiety. Because another thing is, I talked to a few people, and they don't like working with marketing agencies because they didn't have any previous experience. So how do you swap that? How do you change their mind? And how important is that? Because these are all parameters that are effectively important when you try to sell something. So consider them, and consider their relevance to your buyer persona by doing testing. And you can do that if you write everything down, you build copywriting, you build a few variants of that, and then every 2 weeks you can change them, and you can figure it out. Oh, listen, this works. I'm trying to sell I'm trying to solve this pain, and with this copywriting is working. Here, I'm trying to sell in this outcome. It's not working too well. Okay, then that's gone. But you can work so on. And another really important thing, do not ever forget that you change and people change. So in 6 months, the need of that specific person might be changed, and the way you try to sell your product or yourself to that person has to change as well. This is really easy example. 2 years ago, I was using Google Meets. You probably were using Google Meets, but every person over 45 probably wasn't. So that changed their perception of the product. They had to learn how to use it, and now they know what it is. But beforehand, if Zoom wanted to sell their customer, their business platform to other businesses, probably they had to educate people of why using Zoom and why Zoom was better than the others. Why now everyone knows it. So it's a whole different scenario, and that changes. So that's another important thing. So every 6 months or 12 months or whatever that is, please go and review your persona. And there is if you want to do it, there is a brilliant template on Miro. I can share that later on, that you can go as much deep as you want with that.
Yeah, that would be highly appreciated if you could share it with us. You also mentioned your marketing, and it also appeared in our previous talks, like the communities that you explored, the communities, like the startuppers communities all over the social medias, and that's brilliant, because as you said, you didn't spend a dime on marketing. You got into the groups, so you were you were inside. You could read their concerns, their needs, and answer these needs. So could you tell us a bit more? How did you try any other let's say funnel, or this was your main focus, so to get into these groups and know the needs, and then try to help these people?
No, we did a few different things. Obviously, we cannot just rely on one thing, because then I wouldn't be a marketer on that way. So obviously, even in the past, we tried ads, we tried Google ads, we tried Facebook ads, we did a little bit of everything. Then obviously you go with the thing that performs the best. The thing about communities is obviously the best thing to do if you really want to know what they struggle with, and now you can market them, and then you can decide to bring that wherever you want. So for instance, a few other things that we do are contests, so startup pitch, where we participate as judges or as sponsors, and we try to help out the community, because our main goal is to become a point of reference for every startupper around that niche and around that specific money value. So around the seed side, we will really want to be really well known for that. So obviously not only trying to sell something, but to give value back to the community. So except for that, we have done a good amount of giveaways, which is another marketing technique, but it's not only to acquire new customers, but also to give effectively back to the community. So last year we gave 12,000 euros worth of services free for startuppers that were that were UX UI. We did a little bit with campaigns now at the moment. So we helped out a few startups with campaigns. And another thing that we do is teaching. So we were asked from a couple of universities and a couple of accelerators programs to bring growth hacking into their teaching, obviously. And so we're trying to build something that is a little bit bigger. It involves like many other touch points. So working on communities just to learn something, and then to do marketing through cold outreach. But the bigger picture entails quite a few different things. We have email marketing, like we have a small community for our email marketing, for instance, and we share our workflow completely for free. So you get even our templates, that the thing that we do with our clients, the personas, the jobs to be done, how to do market research, how to do competitor analysis, and all that stuff. So they have touch points, and we do like having these touch points, because we want to offer value, because we believe that only if you offer value to the people, then you can factually step into a growth path that is not only for you and your salary and your money, but for the other companies and ultimately for the ecosystem. And to do that, not only we've done that, not only we went a little bit into teaching, but the other thing, I lost myself. I've been talking so long, Pavel. You should have interrupted me. No, we gave.
No. That's that's why we invited you, because we want you to talk as much as possible. Yet our time is limited, but no, feel free, because it's very interesting and insightful. So please go on.
Yeah, so as I was saying, we went into teaching, we do giveaway, we offer free services for the startup ecosystem. And the last thing we did, it was to try to be a point of reference of a I call it chain of value of the ecosystem. So let's say, Pavel, you're a startup and you come to me and you are too early stage for me, because I work with startups that usually have a product on the market. They are on this solution or MVP kind of thing, but they're already out. So solution market fit or product market fit in that range, unless you need us to build a platform, that's a whole different story. So if you're too early for me, I have a partner, and they take care of mentoring early stage startups. Or if you come to me and you're looking for funding, we have a business partners, and a few of them do that even for free. Like there is nothing really behind it, but we try to create this value. So for legal assistance or for financing or for finance, so business planning and all the kind of stuff, or for digital PRs, even other things that we do not cover with our agency, but they're still onto the digital marketing side of things. So that's what we do for our clients and for the people in general.
Does it appeal for like Italian startups or the startups all around the world? Like, you mean like the legal advisory and funding and so on? Because it's very interesting as well.
So now the big one is in Italy. I have to be 100% transparent. Like in Italy, we have closed already 7-8 partnerships, and they are already available to who get in touch with us. On the international side, we are working on it, but before obviously we release it, we need to make sure that we are working with the right people in the right direction, and that unfortunately takes a few months. But we already started talking with a few companies in Ireland, UK, and around the Benelux area. But step by step. But we'll go through that.
Right. Okay. You mentioned a few times before that you also work with startups that don't have like marketing budgets. So if I may ask, do you work like on a success fee as well, or for example, I come to you with an idea. I guess you have ways to evaluate if it's gonna work or not, or what stage it is. But let's say, I'll be honest with you, Matteo. Non ho soldi. I don't have money. Can you work on if you believe in our product, our service? Let's work on a success fee. Do you work this way or not?
Usually not, but it really depends on the startup and really depends on the product and on the team. That is really important. So we did work on success fee, and we did work. It was more kind of in between. It was a flat plus success fee. So it really happened in the past, but we need to have all the thing in place. Like every single bit that must be in place, and we do that with the workflow that we are kind of tested. And I can actually, if I have 3 minutes left, I'll try to fit that in 2-3 minutes for you that are entrepreneurs and would like to work with an agency that actually knows what they're doing. Because most of the times we get clients and we get leads, and they come to me and they say, I want to sell more products. And I say, okay, what's the time frame? What's the budget? What's your digital assets? And so on. And they have no answer whatsoever. Now, the online competition is pure madness. So if you don't know this stuff, don't even start. And if you want to work with an agency that effectively knows how to do it, they will ask you these things. Okay, so be prepared on your product, on your margins, economically as well, and on your market. So we have a workflow. When we get into a call, we have a discovery. So I'm going to ask you for your goals, and I'm going to ask you for your budget first, and I'll try to understand the business model and the industry that you're working with, and try to get some general information. Then if we are a fit, because that must be important. If you go to someone and they go straight into a proposal, what if they don't have expertise and that market is really specific? So you must behave and you must understand who's talking to you and how they're effectively working and how professional they are. So despite that, we will ask you if you have your competitors, if you've done some kind of market research, all the assets that you have, and what would you effectively like to work on? Because everyone wants to sell more. But what if you already have a huge customer base and it will be better for you to work on retention rather than revenue? So then again, what kind of funnel are you using? Are you using the pirate funnel, or are you using the standard funnel? So you obviously need to know all these kind of things, because it's really tough for us to try to understand what to do, considering that the market is really difficult. Most of the times there is no budget, and most of the times we just need to do a few things with bits and bytes from everything. So the more prepared you are, and the more prepared we are, the better we can effectively work together. But you need to have a clear understanding of what's going on in your market, and a clear understanding of what's going on from your competitor perspective. Because if you have a pair of shoes and you tell me, I want to sell this pair of shoes, that is not enough anymore. But not even, I want to sell this pair of shoes and I have 50 quid a day. That is not enough anymore, because the platforms, and that as a marketer, that has to tell you that they have requirements. So if you don't spend enough money on that, you will not get any result. Unfortunately, there are a lot of marketers that do advertisement even if they haven't done budgeting properly. You should try to avoid them. But I mean, that's the market. So there are really good agencies. There are great agencies that are 100 times or 1,000 times better than mine. And there are people that are 1,000 times worse. So you obviously need to figure it out from your own perspective what you really want, and now you can put it down to help them out you to achieve that target.
Yeah, that's a good point you mentioned. Can you tell us a bit more about your competition? Is it like are there many like agencies that do the same as you, as same package of services that you provide?
So in Ireland, no. In Ireland, we are the first. There's no one else doing that. In Italy, there are a few growth agencies, but I believe we are the only one focused on startups. And I will tell you now in preview, within the next 6 months, we will take even a more specific business direction. So we'll cut something out of it, because we really like working with platforms and SaaS. So we'll take onto that path. And we really want to be first movers within that, within our country, because we believe there is huge potential within the SaaS and platform market. And of course, to make any practice scalable, it's easier from the marketing side of view, and it's easier from the perspective of creating scalable marketing practice. But the other way around, how to build the strategy, it's way more complex, because you have to dig down the analytics way more. But what we really struggle with, and that is tough, not because it's us, because growth hacking was born effectively 10 years ago and is effectively adopted in Silicon Valley by most. But in Europe, it came in Europe, let's say 5 years later, and there are not many people doing that. So it's tough to bring that out on the table, because every time that I talk about growth hacking, not every time, but most time, I need to explain what that is and what we effectively do. And you need to find people that are really willing to experiment with this stuff, which is actually good, but it's a tiny difference. So we were saying the job's to be done, right? Most people would rather go and do Facebook ads for 3 months with 200 quid a budget, rather than doing sprints of something else, because they're used to the traditional marketing and the traditional agency. Well, here is a whole different way of working. It's maybe the output and the product is the same, but the way we work is different, and educating that's the tough part of it. And that's why we got into a little bit of teaching as well.
Great. So it seems that you found quite a niche. So yeah, great. Okay. You mentioned that you don't spend money on like ads, but do you, for example, we do cold campaigns for our own purposes, like, so do you also do this for your own purposes to get clients through this channel?
We do it for our clients, not for us at the moment. As I was saying, we've done it, and we will do that again, like 100%, because we will need to. We have a couple of probably products that are going out within the next few months, because we want to test out something on the SaaS market, so on the specific niche. So we will be doing that, but at the moment, just for our clients. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, you mentioned about spreading like globally. You said that for now it's like 80% Italian clients, 20% Irish, but I guess you follow the unicorn lists. So there are many like unicorns in Germany, of Italy as well, of course, but unfortunately not in Poland yet. But as I've just seen, there are more than like between 1 and 10 in Lithuania and Estonia. Estonia is quite renowned for their startups. Do you also aim like let's say the German markets and other European markets?
Yeah, maybe one day. I know that Estonia, Lithuania, and Finland is booming from the SaaS side, because I'm trying. What I do with my campaigns is not only to get clients, but to build networking, like to build relationship and to build the proper networking. So then one day when I will be ready, I will have the contact, and I might have gotten on a phone call like a year before, 6 months before. So we are already in touch and we know what we're talking about. In the future, I would like that very much. But I think there is still a lot of work to do, because it's not only about having a successful agency. Probably, to be honest with you, I really strongly believe that there must be a really strong startup ecosystem that is built on values. Other than that, you won't get results, and you won't get unicorns. So initially, we are a little bit far behind on that, but we are investing a huge amount of money, and there are every single day new entrepreneurs that are trying to do really good things. So I would like to help them out to do that, and to bring Italy a little bit fast forward. Once I'm done that, and once I see that there are other opportunities and other markets, obviously, we'll grab them. But we want to make sure that we are fairly established, and we are a big player on 1 or 2 markets before we try to expand onto much broader horizons.
Right. Okay. One advertisement, let's say. We've got 7 minutes left, so if anybody wishes to ask Matteo a question, please write it down in a comment. I see that Massimo wrote that always talking about budget. I guess this is it's like this is always like one of the key points during the sales process, to talking about budget, and I guess it's very important and common topic in especially in startups. So guys, please feel free to ask questions. I wanted to ask another one before any question appears. You mentioned giving value, which is also like significant and important. Can you give us an example how you give value to your audience or your clients?
Yeah, as I was saying, last year we had for the startup ecosystem 12,000 euros worth of UX UI consultancies for early stage startups. This year we have given already 3,000, and they are not forced to pay or do anything. Obviously, there is nothing. So we give value mostly through that, and we are actually testing out a workshop, which is probably it's going to turn out it's going to be in October. We already tested it in a lean kind of way, and we are planning on building a bridge from the students that are studying marketing to the startups. And that is going to happen with a specific partnership with an academy here in Milan. I'll see them tomorrow. What we want to do to bring value to the startups is to help the students, first of all, to get expertise and to get to know what growth hacking is. And we want them to work with startups. So effectively, startups that can hire someone that is effectively ready to go and ready to work for a startup. So we'll put them together and we'll try to give them both whatever they need. So we give the student some expertise and some teaching and all the resources they need, and we give the startup access to the student, and they can join and participate as well and work with us towards the building and the structuring of the growth marketing strategy. So that's another thing. And for startups, we are planning that for the first 2-3 editions, it will be totally free. So that's all the things that we do, and events when talking to universities or free workshops for universities. We have another one lined up in October for Idea Boost Lab, which is an international program for startups. This one is held in Bocconi, Milan, and we are doing workshops, and we will be talking to all the startups over there and help them out to build effectively a growth strategy. So all these kind of things.
Is it going to be like the on-site workshop or online? How it's going to work?
So on-site probably, because we would like to get them to work like hand by hand, but we'll see the developments, to be honest with you. So I don't really have an answer for that. Like the one for Idea Boost Lab is going to be there for sure and online, and the other one I'm pretty sure in person, yeah, because we are still on the testing phase, so we want to make sure that we are doing everything the right way.
Okay, great. Right. Okay. Let me ask you the final question. Let's say that there is a company that wants to start acquiring leads like globally. They're quite well established on their market, and they say to themselves, "Hey, let's start selling internationally." What would you be your advice? How to start doing this?
Market research and competitor analysis will be the first two things that I would do. So obviously you need to understand what is the price per that specific keyword. So let's say that you're selling shoes, okay? And let's say that you're selling shoes in Poland. You have a budget, and obviously you have a product that you know you're selling well over there. But where is this product gonna sell the best? I don't know. Unless you have limited budget, you need to be smart about that. So you can figure it out who your competitors are. You already know who your competitors are. You can use tools like SEMrush to put down the competitors and to see where they effectively are operating, and as well the market research. So you can target specific keywords because your shoe will be the shoes that have people to do this or blah, 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 and so on and so on. By using SEMrush or SparkToro or any other analytic tool, you will be able to understand more or less what's going on, what your competitors are spending on it. Either they're going on Google, they're going on Facebook, so you can use Facebook Ads library to figure out the countries where they're working the most. By doing that, obviously, you would have to take a note of the cost per click that you have, because obviously your penetration strategy has to be, again, Massimo, I'm sorry for that, has to be compliant with the marketing budget you have. Because if from Poland you decide to go to the States and you don't have, let's say, 10,000 euro a month to throw in Facebook ads, that won't work. Unless at that stage you decide maybe to sub-segment, which that's another good option if you don't have enough budget, sub-segment that country into specific regions and to decide to penetrate the market gradually. So that could be the option. I will start with these two things. And then another thing that I would do is I would use the bullseye framework. The bullseye framework, basically, if you play darts, you have the center and you have the first circle and the second circle. To achieve your goal, you know what already is working in your marketing or not. So to achieve your goal, there will be 2-3 things that are key for you to do that, to penetrate the market. And there will be a few other things that you can do. So some nice to haves that can help you out to push conversions and so on. So let's say the first 3 things are ads, link building, and cold outreach. Outside, you have content, you have social media management, and so on, so on, so on. So if you build this framework and you have an idea of how much money that's going to cost you, the bullseye framework will help you figure it out, how to allocate the money into the most important things that you should do, then the secondary things that you should do to achieve that goal, and then eventually a few other things that will be maybe later. But that will give you, I wouldn't say like 100% clear, because obviously the market is tough. Like you need to go out there and to test out and try. But at least if you know these things, you can make an informed decision. And that's all about that.
Thank you. That was a brilliant insight, you know, like full of tools that you mentioned. I'll make sure to ask Matteo off on our after our live conversation to ask him for links to these tools, because it's great. It's really great, and I really hope, and I'm sure that it's going to be useful for the audience. Okay, Matteo. So you describe everything like so fully. You gave a full description, so there are no questions to what you said. So thanks a lot for our conversation. Thanks for your time and for your like brilliant, insightful insights. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you everybody took a bit for themselves from our conversation. So yeah, we've came to an end. Grazie mille, Matteo. Thanks again, and then see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. It was a real pleasure. Thank you, Pavel, for inviting me. There will be, I'm sure, another opportunity. We'll host you onto our channels.
Perfect.
Once we get a little bit more on the international side of things, and we we'll make sure you speak Italian by then, because you're already extremely good at that. But
yeah, I'm preparing for my vacation, you know, to be able to to communicate. Yeah, sure. I'm looking forward to it, of course, and it's highly appreciated. Thanks again, Matteo.
See you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.